Hi, I'm Maisie and this is CCN's Weekly News 5 at 5, October 22nd. Gas and oil drilling off the coast came a step closer this week as a bill in federal parliament designed to override the absent Resources Minister Keith Pitt was defeated when local MP Lucy Wicks and her coastal Liberal colleagues failed to support the bill. Manly-based MP Zali Steggall talked to CCN just prior to introducing the bill to Parliament. Lucy Wicks spoke with us today about her vote to crush the bill in the lower house.
I think the communities have had enough of waiting. We've had a lot of platitudes from especially coalition MPs along the coast saying that this project won't go ahead. But the reality is the licence holder is going ahead. You have interviewed them. They believe this project is on foot. They are putting out to tender for materials to proceed. So we need to call time on this ridiculous project. This is the Morrison government's gas folly off our coast, and it's just not acceptable.
And what was your reasoning behind voting against it?
So the procedural motion was actually simply a suspension of standing orders. The substantive motion was not before the House. I know there's a bit of misinformation about that and a bit of misunderstanding, and I can understand that because, of course, there's a lot of passion and interest in the importance of this particular issue, PEP 11, the PEP 11 permit area.
But you could have actually done a bit more yesterday in Parliament in terms of allowing, if you, Dave Sharma, you and Falinsky, that have shown public support for this bill and for that bill to cancel PEP 11 would have voted to allow that bill to be debated. That outcome could have been done yesterday so that people feel that. So I think by just saying that that was just a procedural motion that you voted down and not the actual bill, to vote down the procedural motion didn't allow the bill to be debated. It's kind of the same thing.
Well, it's actually a completely different thing because the outcome was achieved months ago. The Prime Minister made it very, very clear months ago that under a Morrison government, PEP 11 will not go ahead.
So how do you explain then that the proponent is continuing to... I mean, I spoke to David Breeze. He doesn't feel that the process is in any way hindered by Mr. Morrison's support against it. He's continued to put up tenders for a drilling rig. He's continuing to run the business case and actively working on exploration in this area. So he doesn't seem to care what the Morrison government thinks. So, and you know, but how do you respond to that?
I know that our community cares what the Morrison government thinks.
Yeah.
And I know that the Prime Minister cares what our community thinks. And the Prime Minister has made a commitment to the Central Coast. He has made a promise that under a Morrison government, PEP 11 will not go ahead.
COVID case numbers on the coast have spiked again today to 25 after a sharp drop, with the daily average for the region being around 11 cases over the last fortnight. And news that a series of workers at popular retailers tested positive to COVID-19 recently whilst working full days has prompted the Central Coast Local Health District to issue health alerts. See our website for full details. And waiting times at the Woy Woy Services Australia Centre on Blackwall Road, which is formerly known as the Centrelink Medicare office, have soared over recent weeks as people encountered difficulties accessing their COVID-19 vaccination certificates. As a result, many people have reportedly been turned away from stores such as Kmart in Woy Woy, who are policing a double vaccinated certificate. And we all know that lockdown rules have been difficult, though some stories are brutal. A Woy Woy man has been denied access to Queensland despite being eligible to say farewell to his dying stepfather. The full video story by Sky Hull will be published tomorrow on Saturday, with an article in next week's Pelican Post. The public inquiry into Central Coast Council has continued this week. Let's go to Dave for an update.
Thank you, Maisie. More remarkable revelations from current and past executives and professionals. And hours of online testimony has attracted hundreds of viewers who witnessed an insight into how a dysfunctional council culture has played out into an economic disaster. So respected council consultant Professor Graham Sampson gave evidence this week about his extensive report into the council crisis. Here's a little of what he had to say.
The accounts, because of part of the water and sewer money not being classed as restricted, the accounts as at the end of financial year 2018-19 were still showing that the council had plenty of cash. So So yes, with hindsight, you can ping the council for being slow, and I think even being generous, certainly by late 2019, early 2020, you could definitely say they were being slow to respond. Although I think Mr. Murphy was making every effort by then to get to the bottom of the situation.
Now, follow our papers and online for comprehensive news from the region's most persistent council reporter, Marilyn Vale.
Thanks, Dave. All of these stories and thousands more can be found on our website without a paywall or in this week's Coast Community News, Coast Community Chronicle and the Pelican Post. Remember to subscribe to all of our YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Spotify and Instagram pages for updates throughout the week, and keep an eye out for Sky Hall's video updates. And to finish off this week, check out this clip from the film Online Dating, acting and directed by local filmmakers Daniel and Sil Marie. We hope you have a fun and safe weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Okay, just keep in mind I'm not as in shape as I once was.
That's totally fine.
And I'm starting to show the signs of male pattern balding.
Not a problem.
And I'm not as toned as I used to be.
Got it.
Come up there.
Is this a game to you?
What?
Do you think it's funny to come on here and mock single people? What just for a laugh?